Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Certification Exams Tips. I would like to welcome Issouf Jilany, our speaker for today. I've known Issouf for many years as an Agile transformation trainer, working on Agile APM training large and small organizations on their Agile journey. Issouf is a cloud enthusiast and as well teaches AWS techniques to pass the AWS exams. I'm quite in high spirits to welcome Issouf to this particular session, as Issouf has shared many thoughts and has also expressed his desire to guide people on this journey of making them understand how to use the AWS cloud and to pass the exams. I would like to welcome Issouf and let's have a wonderful session. Thank you, folks.
Hi, thank you, William, for a wonderful introduction. So today we are going through the AWS Cloud Practitioner Certificate preparation. Okay, so I have taken the exam a couple of weeks back, and I keep on taking these exams because AWS always introduces new services. They always keep on changing. AWS, what they do is they release, they upgrade, they release their platform continuously. In last year they have released nearly 1,500 updates and new products. Every year they do reInvent conference, and they try to release. So I always take the exam, even though I have the certification. So today's session is to understand how we can pass this exam. So if I can do it, that means you all can also get this exam. There are three levels of exams in AWS. So first one is really to understand fundamentals. Once you have a better understanding of fundamentals, then you can take this AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, and it adds value to your CV. It gives you a better understanding of what are the AWS offerings. Okay, then we have, once you finish this, you can go into associate level exam, slightly advanced, and then you have, practitioner exams like, solution architect, based on your stream which you're choosing. So today, what we are going to do is, this is our plan. I will be going through what are the topics or items which will be tested in the exam. So what you need to have a good understanding. Then I will go to the exam pattern. Okay, what sort of type of questions you will get. The most important thing is to have a study plan. Okay, so quite often what happens is that we are overwhelmed with so much information. So we don't know where to start and where to end as well. That's what I will be going through here. So then I will go through what is that study material I read, so that it might help you in searching for using the same material, or it gives you a right prompt to where you need to go. So if we have time, I will just go through my AWS console. I will show you certain very basic things. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff there. Okay. So the first thing is, in the exam, they will try to assess certain, what AWS is capable of. Okay. So I'll be going through the 6 items in a moment to just have a understanding. The first item is, what is that value proposition of AWS going into cloud, and especially when we talk about AWS. So there are 4 things what AWS offers. Like, for example, the first thing is agility. Okay, so previously when you have data centers, you used to maintain a lot of infrastructure on your own. So there is if something changes in your business, it takes a lot of time to adjust your systems to bring your product into the market. So here in AWS, it's just like one click to set up a server within a fraction of a second. Maybe I'm too exaggerating, but within minutes you can set up like a very big servers. Okay? You can do experiments. You can set up if your teams are doing development, you can set up a dev environment within minutes. And at the same time, you can, once you finish your work, you can immediately turn off your dev environment. So normally developers work from 9 to 5. So you can set up your environment at 9 o'clock, and by the time you finish at 5, just close the environment. So you are saving a lot of money, instead of having your on-premise and you keep on running your instances. You don't need to do that. Okay. So the next thing what they offer is elasticity. So based on your demand, there are certain mechanisms through which you can increase your resources. Okay. So we have elastic load balancer for that, in AWS. So these help you in no time increasing your capacity and to cater to your client base. Flexibility. Next one is there are 175 products which AWS offers. Not all are core products, but I will be going through in a minute. There are certain core products which are the heart of the AWS. Okay, so like EC2 instances, storage, RDS, relational database, and networking. So these are the items you need to have a better understanding. Then comes security. Okay, so AWS, there is a lot of talk about how secure, not only AWS but in general, how secure is this cloud. Okay, so I can assure you that the cloud is these days much secure than the on-premise. In on-premise, you have to deal with everything. Okay, you have to deal with patches. You have to maintain your servers. You have to maintain your backend infrastructure. Security. You need to provide your data centers physical security. So all these things are clearly out of scope of a individual. Will be going through in a moment what is that responsibility AWS takes and what is that as a customer you take. So next one, understand and explain AWS Shared Responsibility. So this is what I just had a diagram. Basically, what is shared responsibility is it defines AWS has a paper, a white paper, which describes what is that they are responsible, okay, and in the cloud, and what as a customer you are responsible. So in the exam, they will try to make sure that you understood this shared responsibility model. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you are able to see this diagram. So here you can see that in AWS, what is that AWS take care of, and what is that customer needs to be aware of, and what they need to, in terms of security, they need to make sure that they look into all those items. So for example, AWS, so infrastructure level, compute, storage, database, networking. So these are the core services what AWS offers. So AWS looks into, as I mentioned, patching and maintaining all these databases and the edge locations. Okay, you need to have an understanding of what is a region, what is a availability zone. Availability zone in AWS is nothing but data center. They're spread all over the world. So in a region, for example, in EU region, we have London, we have Ireland. These are various regions where you have data centers. You have a data center in London. You have data center in other areas. Okay, so you can deploy resources at a click in any of the location. If you want to have a server in Japan from sitting at your home, you can launch a server in Japan to cater to your if you require that use case, if you have that use case. Okay, so the next one is understanding cloud security best practices. Okay, as I mentioned, security is shared between AWS and the customer. So when you are attempting this exam, they will try to understand what are the security best practices. For example, there is identity and access management in AWS. So to access the resource AWS provides services, you need to grant some username and password to someone. So they ask you, they have certain best practices which you need to follow. For example, they say that you need to enable multi-factor authentication, and there are certain they will give you some guidance which you may implement and which are the best practices. So the next one is, as I mentioned, AWS Capabilities. So what is that AWS? What you can do in AWS? Okay, so the first thing is compute. Okay, so just look like this. When we are working on a laptop or PC. For a laptop to work, it needs a CPU to process certain data. Okay, to transfer, you need a network. To store some database, you need some kind of database, and to share some files, you need some storage. So these are the 4 core areas which you need to have a clear understanding. So for compute, they have EC2 instance. Okay, for networking, there is Route 53, and for database, they have various types of databases you can use, and storage, it is S3. Okay, so they will be looking into whether you have understood. For example, if you take storage S3, there are different types of storage. When you are archiving, if you are using the AWS service to just archive, so what sort of product they have, services they have, and what is their limitation capabilities, these are the they will try to test you in the exam. Yeah, and then core services, as I mentioned, compute, network, database, and storage. I think I have discussed that. So identity access for common use cases. So in the exam, there are certain, they will try to make you, they will give you a scenario-based type of question. So you need to understand what sort of, for example, if you just want to launch a static website, okay? So what is the cost-effective way of launching a static website in AWS? So a static website, normally you can, you can optimize cost by just storing those files, static files, in a S3 bucket, and you can, launch it. You don't need to have a EC2 instance or server which serves the pages. S3 can act as a static website. Okay, so these are the type of scenario-based questions they will give you. So you need to understand all these things. Okay, so the next one is now we are going into the exam pattern. Okay, so the exam, there are 2 types of questions you will get in the exam. The first one is multiple choice questions, and as I mentioned, some questions have scenario based, and they have like multiple answers as well. What I mean is they will give you a statement, and you have 4 or 5 choices. You need to make more than one choice to get the right answer, and you have 70 questions in the exam, and within 90 minutes you need to answer them. Okay, and the exam is scored between 100 and 1000, and 70% is a pass mark. So you need to score 700. And the areas or the domains where they will try to assess you is the cloud concept in general, cloud concept, and what are with respect to AWS, what is that, what are the benefits you have and what are the limitations. This is what they will be checking. Security and compliance, okay, how you will maintain a secure system within your organization using AWS technology. What I meant is that database, EC2 instances, storage, all these things. And the most important thing is optimizing your cost, how you will try to optimize your cost. So there are many ways. For example, if you have a use case, okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you want to have a static website, okay, you can do in various different ways, to have a static website. You can have EC2 instance, then you can through that you can serve. But where you also have in Amazon, we also have S3, where you can have the S3. You can make the bucket as a static website bucket, and you can serve pages from there. So maintaining in S3 is cost effective, whereas maintaining a server is, you need to deploy a server and you need to maintain it. Okay, so this is what this type of things they will be asking you. And again, billing and pricing, that's where they will be going through all these. You need to have a clear understanding. Okay, the most important bit is the study material. So what is, I have gone through extensive research and how best, what is that we can use the resource. Okay, there are certain free resources, there are certain paid I used to and I experimented on them, and I would like to share my thought. Okay, the first thing I will go is the free resources. Okay, AWS, they have documentation. Okay, so the documentation is so vast. Okay, I'm sure it's their product, so they have all the documentation, and you can go on their website. They have documents, they have webinar, they have their own training, they have paid training, they have virtual training, they have they deliver like a day preparation courses, preparation webinars, which are really helpful. Okay, so I will try to show you. You can go on the websites and say AWS webinars, and it will come up, and you can select based on the level as well. If you're looking for fundamental, you need to know fundamental of AWS, there might be a webinar. If you are trying to take exam, there might be this specific webinar which are created to give more information about the exam. So I would strongly recommend that you go on to the AWS website and you try to explore their training portal, which has very good resources. Okay, so, and again, sample questions. So what I did is during my preparation, I subscribed for in Udemy. I took a course, okay, which this course is there are two things which I did. One is taking a Udemy course. I think you can see it on my slide. The course is from Stephen. Okay, and why I took that course is, and why I think that is very important is, when I went onto AWS website, as I mentioned, the information is so vast. Okay, so it is most probably for a newbie, for a new person, if you go there, it would be too overwhelming because you don't know where to start, and especially very important is where to end. So it is just a fundamental understanding you need to have. You don't need to go the depths of every service. Okay, so they're not going to test you on those depths. So it is very important to understand where to start. So that, to be precise, this Udemy Stephen's course, it tells you what is the necessary stuff you need to learn in order to have a good understanding of AWS, which will enable you to pass the exam. So that's ultimately what you need. So the course is, the entire virtual course is for, I think, 10 hours or 15 hours. So it helped me in planning when I can take the exam. So how I did was, it is 10 hours. So every day I catered, I reserved in my plan for 1 hour to do. So I know that, today is 11, so I can take the exam anywhere around 22nd of Feb. Okay, so this is how I planned my journey. Okay, so I also used A Cloud Guru, which is also good, but I felt that A Cloud Guru is, for a person who want to pass the exam, it is Stephen's course. If you need more understanding of the subject, maybe A Cloud Guru will also help you. Okay, so if like the study plan, as I mentioned, so I would recommend you to take the Udemy course. I mean, I don't get anything out of it, so it's just that in my experience is that that helps you to plan your entire when you're going to take the exam and how you're going to structure your daily study plan towards that. Okay, so now what I will try to do is, based on, I think we have some more time, I'm going to share my AWS Console. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so this is my console, AWS. So I'll just have logged in, and these are the services you can, services which AWS provides. Okay, so when I say compute, you can see here all services, compute, EC2 instance. Okay, there are other services as well, like Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, Elastic Beanstalk. These are, you don't need to know about Lightsail. You may have a little bit of understanding of Lambda and this Outpost. I don't think so it's necessary. But when it comes to storage, as I mentioned, S3, yes, you need to have a good understanding of S3, EFS, Glacier. All these are types of storage. Based on the use cases, we have to make a decision, okay, to what is that, we are going to, which type of storage we're going to use it. So again, then we have databases, RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache. So I think these are the things. They don't go into Neptune, QLDB. These are very special use cases they have, and DocumentDB time stream. I don't think so. You need them. Okay. So again, what they will try to do is this migration and transfer. So you need to have an understanding of what is that support AWS provide in terms, if you want to migrate your data center to AWS, that's it. Okay. So there is a migration service. Okay. You can use them. They won't go into too much detail. They won't ask you about, all those, what is a Snow family, what is data sync, it's not necessary. Okay. So that's it. So again, we have, as I mentioned, you also have identity access management. There are so many services these days that, the menu has become so long. So that's why I normally type it here, IAM. Yeah. So this is what, this you need to have, again, good understanding of identity and access management. So basically here you can see that, you can create users. Okay. You can put them in groups. Okay. That will help you to manage. So all these things, what is a user, what is a group, what is a role. Okay. And what are these things you need to understand, when you need to create a role, when you need to create a user, how you grant access. Do you give access via the console? Do you give access via programmatically? How you're going to give access? What is the reason? Based on the use case, you need to make a decision. So that what, you need to have a clear understanding of that. Okay, so let's move on. I'm not sure. I will try to log into my AWS Training Portal. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see here, this is like, Training and Certification Portal. So I would suggest you to go through this portal. For example, latest AWS certification. Okay, so here they are going through each and every, what do you call, stream. So for example, prepare for certification. Okay, so the site is so good. They will give you what are the foundation level certification you can get, associate, professional, they are specialized. You just need to click. So what I'm discussing is, let's today concentrate on foundation level. Okay, if you click this plus mark, it will give you how to get yourself ready. Okay, as a cloud practitioner, learn about fundamentals. Okay, so they give you exam guide. They will provide you training. In this, they will discuss about free training, classroom training, all those training, and the white papers. Okay, so white papers, what you need to study. They also have this is what the exam readiness webinar. Okay, if you click find exam readiness webinar, so here you see virtual on demand. So there are all these webinars they are doing. Okay, so now what we'll do is, let's see level. If you click fundamental, yeah, so here you see how many webinars are there. So, and again, they are region specific. So I mean, if you don't select a region, the timings will be really hostile. So let's say, for example, I selected Europe. So what you have is AWS Discovery Day. Okay, this is a webinar, free webinar. It is a 3 hours webinar. So you will Discovery Day. It will help you in understanding of various basic core services. So I would strongly recommend you to take these. You see here you have AWS Cloud Practitioner Essential Day. So to pass the exam, I think this is enough. So it's 8 hours. Okay, and it is on February 15th. I think there will be a recording as well. But if you have time, just they have different times. I guess 9 GMT. This starts at some other time zone. Okay, so I have registered myself for this program, AWS Technical Essential, because as I mentioned, AWS, the services, they add, change, do many things. So it's like it's keeping up to date with the stuff. Okay, so if you are interested in various other things, for example, if you are interested in intermediate, advanced, or specifically you want to know something about, let's say, architecting, or something about blockchain, you all have all the information here. So I strongly recommend you to go through this website. So if you are interested, please, you can join those webinars. So back to my slides. So guys, I think that's it for today. I thank you for attending. If you have any questions, please, this is the time to ask. No questions, guys?
Hi, Issouf. Thank you. Thank you for that was a really good one. I appreciate that. So I've got a quick question, really, because I'm a business analyst myself, you see. So my question would be, in terms of the exam and preparation and everything else, what would you suggest for somebody like myself to take as a course to have that sort of base knowledge about AWS? Would you recommend maybe the fundamentals or the practitioner? Which would you recommend, basically?
So for a new person, I would recommend you to start with fundamentals. Okay, start with fundamental. Try to attend few webinars. Okay, like I showed you on the site. Go click the fundamental tab and try to see if you can enroll. In 1 hour, there are some few times it is 1 hour webinar, 3 hours webinar, and there you'll have very, very good understanding. Okay, so once you have that, once you attended that webinar, You can do it simultaneously. It's not that you have to do that first and something second. No, it's not necessary. So then you have to have a understanding of, you need some course which can guide you to achieve the goal. So I personally recommend that you go on Udemy website, okay, or any other website. It's not necessary that you need to go on Udemy, any website, and try to get a course. Okay, so I used Udemy Stephen Marek course, okay, to prepare for the exam. Okay, Udemy Stephen Marek. Okay, so why I used that Stephen Marek exam is he gives you tips. Okay, he gives you he tells you from where the questions will come. Okay, what is that you need to be focusing on. Okay, so if for example, why I recommend taking that is, when I was preparing for my exam, I went through all the services. Okay, that's fine, but in the exam they were asking about, like, AWS offers customer service, like, service contracts. So for a basic developer type of account, they have email support only. If you need, like, if you have an enterprise account, there is some money you need to pay to the AWS, whereby they will support you. Like, if your system is down, they guarantee that a system architect will look into within 15 minutes, and they will suggest you the necessary action for your website or for your application to go online. Okay, go again up and running. So these things, I never thought that they will ask these type of questions. Okay, so this is very important. They were like 4 or 5 questions of these sort of things. So you need to. This will give you a clear understanding. That's why I say maybe it's a good idea to go through a Stephen Marek, and it gives you a clear plan. Okay, 10 hours, 15 hours. Exactly. When you can take the exam.
Right.
I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
So, Issouf, how much does it cost for the exams?
So, the exam is $100. Okay, so it's roughly comes to 80 pounds, 85 pounds based on the, you need to pay $100. And the good thing is, for the next exams, they give you 50% discount. I mean, sometimes they do promotions. So the first exam you shell $100, then you might shell less. And the exam is, these days they are just offering like online proctored exams. Previously, there used to be a center where you go and take the exam, but now I think because of the situation right now we are in, that option is not there. So how I did was, like, I booked in the morning and I took the exam in the evening. So it's that quick. You don't need to wait for months and months together to get a slot. But yeah, and it is 24/7, 365 days, so you can take any time.
So does that mean the exams is proctored and I get someone looking at me all the time?
Oh yeah. So this is my first experience with AWS. Where I was sitting in my house on my desk, and there was some books lying. There were remote, there were phone, and the proctor guy, he asked me to show on the desk inside underneath the desk, and he asked me to remove even the remotes, phone, pen, everything out of sight before I sit. So it is quite you need to be well prepared. That's what I thought.
So do you offer help with preparing for the exams? Do you do some sessions?
Yeah, if any of you need any help, like for example, setting up your accounts, and then accessing the service if you don't understand. So Stephen Marriott course, it actually shows you the theory as well as practical, but sometimes it is difficult to understand to navigate, to set up the EC2 instance, and not only setting up EC2 instance, but you also need to have permissions. So it's not that straightforward sometimes. Most probably he will address everything, but if you need some hands-on experience, you can surely contact me. I will try to do my best.
Thank you. So I know in one of your sessions, is anyone asking a question before I keep asking questions? You see, in one of your sessions, you talked about the the 4 main types of cloud services?
Yeah.
You talked about Google Cloud, AWS, Azure,
yes,
Alibaba.
Yeah.
Why have you stick to AWS as a cloud provider that you always go to?
So, I've been in following AWS since its inception, in 2006, where they were just offering very basic, services. And initially they started with not even, they were just setting up developers, asking developers to try onto their platform. And since 2006, and now if you see the offerings they do and the amount of work they do on the systems, that's the reason why they have maximum market share. Okay, so today if you look into the market share of AWS, Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud, you will see that the majority, it's not even the second and third are so far away that I sometimes doubt whether they even able to ever meet, at least give a competition to AWS. Okay, so the market share of AWS is 65% above. Azure is somewhere around 10 or 15%, and GCP is even lower. Okay, and the remaining is negligible. The other Rackspace and all these people they offer, but it is 1-2%, which is nothing. Okay, having said that, you need to make a decision whether to go into AWS path or Azure path or GCP. Okay, so I will give you the strengths of Azure. Okay, what Azure is stronger is because they have browser. So they have Azure have most of the organizations, they will be using that ecosystem, Microsoft ecosystem. So they will be using various Microsoft products, and they will be interested in integrating with Azure because it makes sense. Okay, and similarly, when it comes to GCP, when you are working with big data, like GCP, Google has, it's the mother of all the data they have. If you are dealing with big data and anything related to that, maybe, and if you are working in an environment where Google is what you're looking for, then go for GCP. Okay, but in AWS, it's you have everything. So recently, what they did is you can even launch. Earlier, they used to offer you can launch EC2 instance, a Windows instance, Linux instance. Linux, there is types of instance you can launch. Now they have introduced that you can also launch a Mac instance in AWS. Okay, so you can launch Mac instance earlier. You can also have a Oracle database you can launch. Because Oracle is a proprietary Oracle SAP. They have a lot of restriction on the type of course you need to use. You need to have a dedicated host, dedicated system. There are so many restrictions. Licensing restriction. So AWS, you can launch any of these. Whereas when you go to GCP or especially Microsoft, they will try to push you onto their own system. Whereas AWS, that's why most people try to go to AWS, and it is the innovation which helps, which makes the customer very happy and stay for longer.
Okay, I think those are all my questions, Issouf.
Okay, any other questions, guys?
Yeah, I got a question, please. It's Victor here. As you rightly pointed out on those 3 cloud providers, there are a bit of debates ongoing in the business now. In my current place of work, we are actually moving towards AWS into some of our implementation. However, because most of we are Microsoft 365 inclined before. However, there is this bit of a challenge between the 2 major cloud provider, Microsoft Azure and AWS. With Azure, most of your current application on O365, you got them embedded into Azure freely. You don't pay for them. However, if you try to put some of those things into AWS, you start paying for them as services. So it's a bit of challenge on the business side, thinking about, okay, which one do we go ahead with? So it's, and apart from that, there is this, I'm not too sure about it, but I've been into some kind of Scrum and training where it's easy to move into AWS, but it's very difficult for you to migrate out of AWS. So on the business continuity side, what is your view on those 2 key cloud providers?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's always about the use case, what you are using, and what is that, your current environment where you're working. Okay, so you might have your developers using VS Code and storing in Git, and all these are like Microsoft services. The same services you will have it in Amazon as well. Okay, so it's up to you. You need to have a system architecture which is optimized, which is cost effective, and on a case-by-case basis, you need to make a decision. So there are limitations, okay? In Microsoft, there are limitations in AWS, okay? So there are more, Microsoft is more proprietary. They will try to push you because you are using Office 365. So here you see that, you feel that you are more inclined to take Azure. It's not necessary that what you look from outside, it might not be economical. So you need to do a clear economical assessment. Whether you take AWS or Azure or GCP, you need to have a clear understanding what is that you are getting, how much it is costing. Ultimately, it boils down to security of your assets and the cost. Okay, sometimes you need to make some decisions where it might not be cost, but it is securely. You need to look into your infrastructure, and you need to build a solution which is robust and at the time cost effective.
Just to add, those 2 always stop people from moving away.
Yeah, I mean, it is like, the more you get into, the more you are into, it's like a web, you are the more you dig into, the more you are into the hole, and it will be difficult to get out of it.
Yeah. Have we got any other questions before we wrap up? Okay. Thank you, Issouf, for such a wonderful, eye-catchy, insightful session. I totally enjoyed every bit of it. And we look forward to having more of your sessions as the year goes by. Folks, it's also a real pleasure to host you all as we kick back into our webinars and our short 30 minutes events. We'll aim to make it 30 minutes going on in the future. Some webinars will take an hour, and the reason being the content is large and it has to be presented over that particular period. So we'll keep you posted on upcoming events, and we would love to see you again joining all those events. Again, Issouf, thank you. It's been a wonderful, insightful, deep learning session. And I'm taking up the challenge and hoping to pass very soon. So I'll keep everyone posted on that. Yeah.
The main motive of this session is to motivate you guys, and I would be very happy to listen that you have passed the fundamental certification in the month of February 2021.
Ooh, that's a big challenge, Issouf. All right. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
And let's have a wonderful day. See you all soon.
Thank you, Issouf.
Thanks.